do you mean the video game's cancelled? Illogical. You took that from Shockwave, didn't you? I understand. But I don't care. Okay, whatever, just launch the game!
What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Reactivate 2-pack of Optimus Prime and Soundwave. Now, I'm kind of late with doing these types of videos with the Reactivate 2-packs because at the time they came out, I didn't feel like doing a review, but now I've kind of made up my mind. It's kind of late now, as I believe these two figures came out right around Christmas time, which were used as a marketing for a game that got delayed. And then got delayed again. And it won't be coming out until 2025, I believe. That could change. With the Transformers Reactivate video game being pushed back, it left us 4 figures, 2 of which we're going to review now. The other 2 we'll take a look at later. Now, despite all 4 of these figures being sold into 2 2-packs, they will be sold separately into the Studio Series toy line, as was seen with the Reactivate Bumblebee. But for now, before we take a look at each of these figures, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So starting off, you have the front over here, which does have a clear plastic window, and also shows Optimus Prime and his figure on one side, and also shows Soundwave and his robot mode and his alt mode on the other. And then the rest is all words, names, and logos. On the top is the Transformers Reactivate logo, and on the bottom is all boring. On one side is Optimus Prime, and on the other side, of course, is Soundwave. And then you turn to the back, you get a little bit more info of what you get inside the packaging, as well as the bottom being surprisingly not boring, as it does show quite a bit of backgrounds of what the characters are supposed to look like and what the environment is supposed to look like in the video game. I am unaware if these are actual screenshots of what the gameplay of Reactivate is or if it's concept art, but be sure to let me know in the comments what this is, as this does look pretty interesting. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. Now moving on to the figures, starting with Soundwave. So starting off, painting and sculpting, it's alright. I'm not too much of a big fan of the blockiness of the entire body. The arms and limbs are okay, and the head sculpt is, fine? Quality on this guy is not too bad. The joints are not too tight, not too loose. However, the bicep swivel is a little stiff, and for kibble, well, yeah, the backpack does have a lot of kibble in it. Same thing with the legs. Now moving on to accessories. Starting off with the pistol, which looks like Studio Series Soundwave's shoulder cannon, just smaller. Pistol goes in the hand, can also go on the shoulder, and when you're done having Soundwave holding the pistol, it also goes over here on the back as means of weapon storage. And then after that is what I suppose is supposed to be the shoulder cannon, as unlike the other pistol, when mounted on the shoulder, this thing does have a little bit of articulation, and is also blast effect compatible. On a side note, by tabbing Studio Series Soundwave's shoulder cannon on the back over here, you can have Reactivate Soundwave equipped with Studio Series Soundwave's arm cannon. Here, Soundwave is dual-wielded. And lastly, one thing I forgot to mention is that this pistol is also blast effect compatible. Now that's pretty much it for the accessories. Moving on to articulation. Ball joint at the head, ball joint at the shoulder, bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, waist swivel, legs can spread, leg can move forward, can move backwards, thigh swivel, bend at the knee, and lastly the foot can rock from side to side. And that's pretty much it for articulation. Pretty good articulation for a wonky deluxe class. Anyways, moving on to size comparison. Starting off, Bumblebee movie Soundwave, Bumblebee movie Ravage, Rumble, Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave, Studio Series Dark of the Moon Soundwave, and Laserbeak. Hope they do a Bumblebee cassette. Seeker Starscream, my most recent review of a Decepticon Seeker Skywarp, Shockwave, Core Class Shockwave, and lastly, Bumblebee movie Megatron. And now is just about the right time to start with the transformation for this guy. We're going to start off with one of the legs, move this out, and then move the wheel out, rotate the leg, and then leave this down right about there. Make sure this is straightened, and then the same process implies with the other leg. After that, close the 2 legs together, and after that, we work up here now. Untab the head, move the backpack all the way out, shift this outwards, close the head in, and then make sure you move this out 100%, and then after that spread the tires out like so, and then after that close this entire wheel section in. Moving back up to the arms, push the lower part of the arm as far back as you can, and then move the arm all the way up right there. After that, move it around like so, and then when you move the arm down, you'll notice there's a tab right there to which the slot on the arm will join with that tab. Same thing for the other side. You might want to leave these down right around there, and then close this whole section in. Just make sure both of these panels are pushed outwards, and that both of these tabs and slots over here are joined in together. You also want to make sure that these tabs connect into the top of the hood, and then after that, leave this black section out. And with the transformation out of the way, here Soundwave is in his alt mode, which is a pretty interesting modified armored vehicle. I have no idea what type of vehicle this would have been. Painting and sculpting, pretty good, pretty good. Sculpting is a little better for the alt mode than it is robot mode. Ironic. For weapon storage, the shoulder cannon is placed over here. And for this accessory, well, it's pretty much the same as it would be in the robot mode. However, for the accessory storage for the main pistol, it looks better if it's placed as rear defense, as there already is the shoulder cannon facing front. For a brief comparison, here he is alongside the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Soundwave in his alt mode, and here he is next to the Dark of the Moon Studio Series Soundwave. If there was a Gamer Edition War for Cybertron / Fall of Cybertron Soundwave, I probably would have done a comparison between him and the Reactivate Soundwave, but such a figure does not exist at this time. But anyways, let me know in the comments which version of Soundwave is better. And now let's move on to this guy. So starting off, painting and sculpting is pretty good, pretty good. For a Voyager, this is excellent. He's also quite a tall Voyager, which we'll get to in the size comparison. But anyways, you gotta appreciate that head sculpt. And the quality of this figure, most of his joints are pretty tight and stiff in some instances. Even the ball joint at the head. However, one thing that does not like to stay tabbed in would be this backpack piece right here. If you mess around with this guy too much, eventually this backpack will find itself untabbed. And of course, the kibble is there's kibble on the side of the arms, and of course the backpack. Anywhere else is not too bad. I guess the other thing that could count as kibble is this. Maybe not, I think that is there on purpose. Overall, most of the kibble is located at the backpack, and it's not necessarily a big deal. Now anyways, moving on to accessories. Starting off with this really nice transparent axe, which looks a little off if you just plug it on the hand right there. You'll notice that the axe is flat rather than diagonal. Why is this the case? I have no clue. I suppose it's not too bad if you turn it like this, but then you turn to the other side and you just think to yourself, what is that? Transparent battle axe goes on the back for weapon storage. Moving on to his ion blaster, which barely fits, but he still holds the blaster. Forgot to mention the ion blaster is also somewhat blast effect compatible. Ion blaster also can go on the back for weapon storage. And one more thing for accessories, Optimus Prime does come with a matrix. And finally, the open and close compartment is accurate as they open out. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Here's the matrix out of the matrix chamber. Just looks like the 86 Hot Rod one. I'm putting this generic accessory back where it belongs. With the accessories out of the way, we can move on to articulation. Ball joint at the head, full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, waist swivel, legs can spread, leg can move forward, can also move backwards, thigh swivel, bend at the knee, and lastly the foot can rock from side to side. And that's pretty much it for articulation. Now moving on to size comparison. Starting off with his multi-pack mate, here he is next to the Reactivate Soundwave. Moving on to some primes, here he is next to the mainline Rise of the Beasts Prime, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Prime, Studio Series Bumblebee Movie Optimus Prime, Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, Studio Series Bayverse Optimus Prime, Age of Extinction Mainline Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, The Last Night Premiere Edition Night Optimus, Universal Studios reissue of the Mainline Dark of the Moon Deluxe Optimus Prime, Mainline Deluxe Prime Changers Orion Packs. To compare with some other tall Voyagers, here he is next to Shockwave, and lastly here he is next to the Leader Class Bumblebee movie Megatron. Can't wait for whatever the Reactivate Megatron is supposed to look like. And now I think it's just about time we get down to transformation, which is quite a tricky transformation. animation. But don't worry, I know how it goes. Starting off, straighten with the shoulders, move it out, all the way out. Rotate the wrist 180, unfold this panel. After that, unfold a bigger panel, and then move this section down. Same thing for the other arm. And after that, let's move on to the legs. So starting off, move the foot all the way out. After that, turn to the back, move this gray section all the way out. After that, untab this entire blue section of the leg, which will shift backwards and should tab into another tab. And after that, close all of this in. Same thing for the other leg. And lastly, close the two together. Make sure these are straightened out. After that, you're going to come to the backpack, move this gray section down, move this red panel down as well, and lastly move this smaller panel down, shift this downwards, move these little pieces outwards like so, and then you might want to push this down for the time being. After that, open this chest up, and then open this bottom torso all the way out, move this entire assembly up to the point where it stops right there. After that, open this up, shift this all the way down like so. Same thing for the other side, make sure they tab in together. After that, close this in, move this entire assembly out, unfold these two panels on the bottom, close in these two panels, make sure they tab in to that slot. Same thing for the other side. After that, make sure the head shifts downward all the way down, and then after that, move this panel all the way down to the point where it closes in completely, and then you slowly but surely want to fold that in. Push that down, make sure you move this all the way in and then close it together. Make sure that closes in as well. Same thing for the other side. And lastly, make sure this piece closes in 100%. Also, these tabs will have to close in as well. And with the transformation out of the way, here is Optimus Prime from Reactivate in his truck mode. Now, I'm not sure which modified truck this is supposed to be, but this thing looks amazing. Painting and sculpting, really good. Yeah, there's a little bit of kibble right there, but it's not too much of a big deal. Overall, the truck mode does look really good. Moving on to weapon storage, you could have the ion blaster stored on one side of the truck, and have the battle axe stored on the other side. And that's pretty much it in terms of weapon storage. For a brief comparison, here he is alongside the Reactivate Soundwave in alt mode, and here he is alongside the Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Optimus Prime in alt mode. I gotta say, when it comes to video game characters from the Transformers, their alt modes are really underrated, especially War for Cybertron Primes. As time goes on and more characters get leaked and announced into the Transformers Reactivate video games, I hope to see more figures of those in the future, let alone their alt modes. But for now, which one's your favorite out of the three over here? Be sure to let me know in the comments. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I had to say for this multi-pack. Overall, pretty great multi-pack. Yeah, Soundwave might not be the best, but I gotta say Optimus Prime is definitely the highlight of this multi-pack. I definitely recommend picking this multi-pack up, especially if you're looking forward to the new Transformers Reactivate game, which hopefully comes out next year. That would suck if they had to push it back by another year. If you're looking to pick these two up, they're available on Amazon for roughly $60. I believe they should get their individual releases in the Studio series eventually, but personally, I believe these figures should have stuck to mainline, as I think these do not look good for Studio series. For Prime, he's great, just not 100% accurate, and same thing for Soundwave, and boy oh boy does Soundwave not disappoint with that. So to have Studio series remolds for these figures would be great. However, for now, that is unfortunately not the case. But it's okay, I guess. These two will do for now. But anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload, let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!